validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt up on the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher constantly, making my own climb. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. Whoa. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. Special shout out to Satellite. Dove in here right before the show started and politely waited through the entire intro so he could give his what's ups. Mr. Satellite back in for round 5. I really appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. We're going to be talking about a lot of interesting things on this really radical Monday night. He said start the stream. He's going to be that guy that's going to have like all of the people rioting right before the show. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it was definitely an intro. We are live 7 nights a week. Word is bond. Just like I said, we're going to be in here. We were supposed to start 7 minutes earlier than what we did, 7 or 8 minutes earlier than what we did. I had to adjust my tie this time. No, really, we had a lot of stuff happen over the past week. Some of it we almost touched on last week, but because we didn't, I want to make sure that we touched on it this week. And it was a very interesting set of current events. We've got about 4 hours that I can give you guys tonight before the 2 a.m. Contract that I've got to fulfill. So, it varies because, when my Asian clients start calling me in for work, I got to go and tend to business. But We're going to be talking about a lot of things today that's related to what's happening in the country and how that's going to negatively or positively impact our money. So if you haven't done so, like and subscribe, hit that like button, mash those hearts, stars, horseshoes, clovers, and balloons that you see in the comment section off to the side. Let everybody know that we're here. Share it with your friends, your family, your uncle, your auntie, everybody that you know that might need this information, or somebody that might just want to argue against it. I don't mind. We've had a lot of hecklers on the show. Doesn't matter to me. Let's see. Now, we are going to be live 7 nights a week. We've got some stuff that we're going to be doing tomorrow. I do believe related to getting out of paying taxes. So we're going to be talking about that. And then ice cream is good. And then we're going to be talking about England. England. And some of those debt-free interest-based companies in England, and some of the platforms that you can invest in them in, because some of those Indian trade companies with that platform are supposed to be direct investor, but they have third party, because if you're not native to the country, you can't directly invest, but they have third party investors. So I'm going to find them. I'm going to present them to you. Ice cream is melting fast. But today, I want you guys to join as I dive into some of the latest political shakeups and try to make sense of Trump's impact on the American government and how that's going to impact our ability to make money here in 2025. Now, the news is dominated by Trump's latest moves, and it's clear that this is going to be a defining moment in his presidency. Love him or hate him, there's no denying that Trump has a way of shaking things up. And this latest development is no exception. Now, President Trump has announced that the 25% tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada will take effect now in the next 15 minutes, because it is supposed to be midnight Eastern Standard Time, which is now. So March 4th, 2025, the tariffs, which Trump describes as a measure to compel both countries to intensify their efforts against fentanyl smuggling and illegal immigration into the United States, will commence at 12:01 a.m. Despite granting a 1-month extension on February for negotiations, Trump stated today, as a matter of fact, now, that there is no room left for Mexico or Canada to avoid these substantial new tariffs. Satellite says it's kind of like the one Indian company got mad at the British government. I forgot the rest. We learned this in social studies. Yeah, something like that. But this one is a little bit more on a larger scale, because they're talking about, when they say 25%, that's billions of dollars. It's billions of dollars. So we had an influx late January, early February, when the tariffs went into effect. And then we had a swift decline because he put the tariffs on hold. Now, not 30 days have passed, he put them fuckers back. So back to the increase. Everybody gonna be pissed off about how much shit costs. I'm about to tell y'all, it's crazy. And that's not the only thing we're talking about today, because I got 10, 12 different topics up here. 67 pages worth of information. The announcement has sparked renewed fears of North American trade wars and has already impacted U.S. stock markets, which experienced a significant decline following Trump's remarks. Now, that means that if you guys were thinking, oh, some of these companies was going to do good, except plastic is fine. All the rest of them kind of just did like a big flop, because the cost of products manufacturing in the U.S. is going to take more money, since the materials are coming from out of the U.S. Now, the automotive sector is particularly concerned about these tariffs as U.S. manufacturing plants heavily rely on components sourced from Canada and Mexico. So industry leaders warn that the 25% tariff could significantly disrupt North American supply chains and increase vehicle prices. So if y'all are planning on buying some new cars, y'all better get them bitches right now during tax season, because yeah, it's about to go down. Well, no, the prices are about to go up because the tariffs are about to go down. And that's not it. That's not it. Because while he getting it in on everybody else, he got something for other countries. Now, hold on, this ice cream is awesome. Now, other industries and consumer goods that may be affected include energy products from Canada, taxed at a lower 10% rate, agricultural products, gasoline, avocados, and electric devices like iPhones. I'm going to say it one more time. iPhones are going to go up in price. So I got an Android, so I ain't got to worry. He specifically said iPhones. I'm sorry, y'all. I've been against iPhone since iPhone came out. I'm a fan of the MacBook Pro though. Ever since they hacked into that FaceTime, I was like, yep, not I, said the black guy. Because if they can hack into that mug back then, you know, they watching and listening while you watching porn right now. So y'all gonna be in a world of trouble. Now, in addition, yeah, I go everywhere with this. In addition, the tariffs on Mexico and Canada, there's more than that. Trump also announced an increase in the tariffs on Chinese imports from 10% to 20%. So originally he hit them with 10%. Now he hit them with 20%. So it's going back up, which means all the stuff that's coming in from China, everything that you're ordering off of Amazon and Temu and other stuff, that stuff's going to start going up in price. If you expect a 20% increase on the price of an item, ideally, if it was $10, it's going to be $10, $20, or $12. You're just going to have to deal with that. And then you have to think about drop shippers. If they're paying an increase in the tariffs on top of that, while they have to pay more money to get the product, they got to pay more money to ship the product. So you might see a 40% increase on some products where it was once $10 and now the shit's like $14. And things that were once $50 might be $75. I had one of my students that was in Taipei. He was just telling me about how he ordered some Swiss Miss from America and it cost him $55 to ship it to him. So I mean, shoot, a box of Swiss Miss, like what, the 36 pack might cost you like $12 or $15 at the Walmart plus $55 to ship it. So you paying like $65, $70 for some Swiss Miss, some of the hot chocolate in the pack with the marshmallows. Come on now, they killing it. Now we have plans for reciprocals tariffs in April to match the rates charged by other countries. So we're going to be looking at any other country. That's going to start a really huge trade war, because any other country that's hitting the U.S. with the tariff is going to hit that country with a counter tariff to offset the cost, where we will ultimately be making more money than we're spending to buy and ship goods. Now, these measures have raised concerns about potential inflation and hindered economic growth, as well as the possibility of retaliation actions from affected countries, because you already know that Trudeau was over there talking cash about taking all the American products off the shelf and all this other stuff in Canada. And if you do business in Canada, you're about to be hemmed up. Like, what does the companies got to do with the president's decision to make you do your job with protecting your side of his border? I don't get it. But the everyday worker is going to be negatively affected by that. Now, moving on. Federal workers are facing a second deadline by Elon Musk, who is not a government agent, but apparently got pulled because his homeboy is the boss. And Elon Musk explains that their work from the previous week must be displayed with the cutoff time set for, again, right now. March 3rd, 2023, where at midnight tonight, which is like 7 minutes from now, this request demands employees list 5 tasks they completed last week. Now, I know some people feel like 5 tasks ain't a lot of money, ain't a lot of stuff. It's easy. But when you're a CIA investigator and you've got like 5 cases that are like cases from 20 years ago, what 5 tasks can you complete? You're like, bro, well, I talked to 7 witnesses. I interrogated a terrorist. I look, I can only think of 2 already. I drove around in the car. I went and got everybody lunch. I had a board meeting. 3 out of 5 of those are relevant. I pulled over like 40 Americans that were on their way to work, minding their business, and gave them a bad time, pissed them off, gave them a bunch of tickets just for the sake of meeting quota. And then I went back to my desk and allowed the trainee to fill in the paperwork. But this has caused significant confusion and anxiety among the government workers, because since the deadline is in place, employees have until 4 minutes from now, right now, today, to submit the information. And the consequences mean both President Trump and Elon Musk. So this is what Musk wants and Trump is going to do. They've suggested that non-compliance could result in termination. So if you don't do this time, because they didn't do it last time, and if you don't do it this time, your ass is fired, like Vince McMahon. And the responses from some of the agencies was all over the place, but different agencies have provided varying instructions to their employees, where some agencies like the State Department are responding on behalf of their employees. Others, like the Food and Drug Administration and the Department of Energy, have instructed employees to respond with limited information. Some agencies continue to advise against responding or limiting the information provided. Now, the recent directives indicate that this will become a weekly requirement, with employees expected to submit lists of accomplishments every Monday. Oh, whew. Don't worry, I'm only going to follow up on the ones that got fired. I ain't really going to follow up on whether or not they're actually doing it. But this affects approximately 2.4 million federal workers, excluding active duty military and postal employees. Now, I'm just going to be real with you, because mail don't always come on time. I kind of feel like the postal workers need to be talking about where the hell they at with my package. You feel me? I'm trying. I know y'all be waiting on some important mail. Y'all that ordered some stuff and it ain't got there yet. If they got a tracking number, it says that it's in your city. It then left the warehouse. It left the warehouse 2 days ago, but it ain't never come to your doorstep. They don't even got the notice on your door to say that they was there. You've been home waiting on the package. You got stuff to do. The package ain't there yet. I think the postman needs to start answering some question. Where was you at? Who was you shoo-shooing with instead of dropping off my mail? Military, I can understand, but like, really, I went to 5 different houses. That's easy. That's I went on a route and delivered mail. Something. Anyway, national security agencies have expressed concern about sharing sensitive or classified information. And this situation has created a tense atmosphere within the federal workforce, with many employees uncertain about how to proceed and concerned about potential repercussions. Now, the administration frames this as a measure to increase accountability, while critics view it as a source of unnecessary stress and confusion. Now, my argument against this or with this is that if Donald Trump is the president in chief, he's at like the top of the military chain of command. Maybe Elon Musk might not be able to read what's going on because he hasn't been sworn in and given the clearance, but Donald Trump should be able to take time to, if Donald Trump is reading what 2 point something or other million people are doing on a day, he ain't got no time to tweet nothing stupid. So I don't see why not. Tell your boss what you've been doing all day. Don't the rest of us got to answer for that on the 9 to 5 average everyday worker got to check in with the boss and make sure that the boss know what's going on. We got on our way in or on our way out. I'm gonna be real with you. If I was in the government right now, I would be drafting every day a small 5-minute memo of what I was doing. Special shout out to Psycho. I think that's what that says. Psycho Geneva Genbin. Russia's on the map tonight. Russia just jumped in. I have nothing to say about it. I think I did a massive show about Russia a while back about all the best places to go in Russia and invest in things and stocks and options and other stuff to that effect. I do believe I've covered Russia already. You got to check the channel and look at all of the stuff that's on the channel, because I've got a bunch of different countries that I've talked about. I might need to categorize that into a specific section for you guys to just find all of the other ones. I'm gonna try this. He's at Vladivostok. I got the Vlad part right. However, I still believe that Trump should be able to take a look at what everybody's doing at work, because if you know that everybody's showing up to work, like I said, the 5-minute on your way out of work, you're on the clock anyway, so why do you give a shit? 5 minutes at the end of the day, say what you did today, whatever it was, and shit, you got Chat GTP, you got Perplexity, you got all of these other AI things that could take your statement, concise it into a decent paragraph that makes it look professional. Even if all you did was get coffee for the boss and do something nasty in the boardroom, you should be able to word that as executive board meeting. I mean, but if you do it, you work 5 days a week, so you should be able to have one accomplishment every day, which makes sense. If they're going to say that you have to answer for 5 things you did last week, you should be able to accomplish 1 or 2 things every day of the week. You should be able to update on something that is standardized information, like I followed a case plan, I followed an executive order, I took action on instructions from my superior. You ain't got to say what you did or where you did it, but I mean, if you were told to do something and you went and did what you were told to do, that's part of your job. Like, why you can't write that down 8 times? Matter of fact, if it's the exact same instruction every day, you should do time and date stamp, where you're like, okay, on Monday at 11:30 I did this, on Wednesday at 7:45 I did this, on Thursday at 8:59 I did this, Wednesday I was out with a cold, but Thursday I did this, and this. That's what I'm talking about. I appreciate it, Vlad. Oh yeah, you guys, y'all know that y'all can always throw us some special likes, special emojis. Y'all can always send us some gifts or donations to the podcast to help support the podcast, so that the podcast can help support accurate and informative knowledge, as well as other good faith works that we do on a back end of things. Because the podcast ain't free. It costs me a lot of money to run this thing. Moving on, the Trump administration has effectively shut down the United States Agency for International Development, so the USAID, marking a significant shift in U.S. foreign policies and humanitarian efforts. So this move follows an executive order issued on January 20th, freezing foreign development assistance for 90 days. It ain't even 90 days yet, but since then, the U.S. aid operations have ceased, with over 90% of its contracts terminated and most of its staff either placed on leave or fired. He wasn't playing. Now, U.S. aid's headquarters has been vacated, so they got tumbleweeds and big balls of dust tumbling through the aisles right now because ain't nothing in there, not even the janitors. That building looked like post-apocalyptic war. It's just done. I don't even think they closed the blinds on that bad boy. It's just done. With employees given limited time to clear their desks, they had to run out with everything that they could carry, because just like the Congress that was locked out of the Department of Education and they couldn't get back in, if you had something of value on the inside, they told you over a month ago your ass was fired. You should have took your shit home with you on your last day at work, because you see they ain't gonna let you back in. Now, notices cited terminations as being in the best interest of government and critical programs such as PEPFAR, an anti-HIV AIDS and polio eradication, and support for Ukraine have been suspended as well or severely disrupted. So the World Health Organization reported halted HIV treatments in 50 countries, and the shutdown undermines U.S. influence in regions like the Middle East and post-Soviet states, where U.S. aid has been pivotal in stabilizing fragile economies and governance structures. Oops. Nah, I told y'all back in the day that if y'all don't do what y'all told, y'all gonna have a world of hurt, and people don't be listening. They just be doing whatever the heck they want to do, thinking that people above them can't do certain things and take certain actions. The person who's signing your checks is the person that you're supposed to listen to before anybody else, because if he decides to cut your check off, you ain't got no check. You can talk trash about whoever you want to talk trash about on a regular basis, but you don't talk trash about the person that make your schedule, because even if the person that make your schedule don't sign your check, if he take your ass off the schedule, you ain't got no check. So you supposed to do what you was told when you was told to do it, and apparently ain't nobody listen, and they ain't got no more money. Now what you gonna do? And a lot of these countries are losing funding because Trump told them to take the people that got abducted by ICE that was supposed to be deported back to their countries, and they haven't been deported back to their countries. And Trump is like, nope, we're paying you to take your people back. You're not doing it. So I'm like, well, damn. If this is a return to sender and you ain't trying to take it back, then I need to stop investing in you. I can't argue with that. That's a very radical way to use money to control the world. But from a billionaire perspective, money talking, bullshit walks. So if you can say whatever you want to say, but at the end of the day, you're not going to get what you're looking for if you don't do what you're told. Ladies, pay attention. Experts warn this creates opportunities for geopolitical rivals like China and Russia. Special shout out to Russia. I don't see how this is going to cause any kind of shift with China and Russia, because China and Russia is not about to put up the trillions of dollars that the U.S. was putting up for all of that stuff. But they do say that, you know, China and Russia can move on in there and take a more dominant stance over some of these vulnerable countries, which would shift political, or not political, it'll shift world powers in some kind of way, where, you know, if we had another world war, whoever was supporting us financially will support them with troops, kind of thing. But what kind of world war do you think we're going to get in these days? Everybody's got a nuke. Everybody's got kids that play World of Warcraft and Call of Duty and Fortnite, and Donald Trump is going to enlist all the kids. It's going to be gamer versus gamer with the drone wars, where I don't know which country it's going to break out in, but I mean, set the battlefield in Ukraine. I don't know. I don't know. Lawsuits have been filed against the administration for bypassing Congress. But Congress don't know how to make a decision. You got like 500 people there, and don't nobody know how to come to a reasonable conclusion about nothing. Which, I mean, even though Congress oversees U.S. aid's budget, you got to understand that U.S. Congress takes years. They only work 6 months out of the year, typically making decisions within 90 days of the first day of their employment. And then after that, the rest of the year, the country can go to hell. So I don't understand. Would they take years to make a decision on something? And y'all going to see what I'm talking about in a minute. And yet they're mad that this man been here for less than 60 full days, and he has then made more decisions by himself than what these 500 people could make together in the past 8 years. I find that to be very progressive. and not progressive meaning forward thinking. I mean progressive meaning he's getting shit done. I can't say that I agree with everything that happens, but what I can say is that stuff is happening for the first time in 5 years. However, court orders to release frozen aid funds remain on hold pending Supreme Court's review. Special shout out to Max Opposer. Special shout out to his dad, Joe. The shutdown has disrupted livelihoods from nonprofit workers, farmers, and business reliant on U.S. aid contracts. Well, if y'all bring y'all asses back to America, y'all not going to be suffering no more. Partner with Oprah. Don't Oprah be taking care of folk in other countries? Oprah be building whole nations in other countries. Why can't y'all tap on some of the billionaires and let some of the billionaires fund y'all for a little bit? Billionaires got plenty of philanthropy money. You know what I'm saying? Why we got to start taking taxpayer dollars and pay for your house in Tahiti or something so that you guys can relax out there while we suffering? Research grants to U.S. universities funded by U.S. aid have also been halted. So if you're part of one of those research facilities in the United States and one of those four-year institutions, you're probably going to run out of funding coming soon, and you're probably going to not be able to continue unless you start doing some of those Relay for Life fundraising activities to raise money for your projects. So the administration justifies the closure as part of a broader effort to reduce government size and refocus foreign aid on U.S. interests. Now, critics argue it risks humanitarian crisis and diminishes U.S. global leadership. I don't think so. I think that if you got used to all the money I pay you to the point where you start disrespecting me, if I stop giving you my money, you start feeling my authority, because when I tell you to do something, you're doing it because that's what I pay you to do. When I stop paying you, you do whatever you want because I'm not paying you to do nothing. But when you're taking money out of my pocket, you do what I tell you to do. Ladies, pay attention. Congress has yet to take decisive action to counter this move now. So while they bitching, they not about to do nothing about it. Nay on that. Like and subscribe as we move on to Georgia. The Senate in Georgia has advanced 2 bills aimed to restrict gender affirming care, marking a significant development in the state's approach to transgender health care. Now, this is going to be reckless. I don't know what they thinking when they decide to put this stuff together, but I guess Making America Great Again was part of this mindset, because the Georgia Senate's hold on a second. Special shout out to Taleni Rabushiniska. I am not able to pronounce all of that, but Talenia, she is honest, or yes, she is honest. I appreciate you being honest. I like honesty. So since we got a lady on the podcast, I'm gonna ask you a side question real quick, ladies. We've been asking this for like 2 years now, and only 2 women have made the exact same comment on there. Besides sex, your career choice, and your choice of education, your level of education, what do you actually bring to the table for a man that a man can value? Because I've been wondering this question, and only like high value women are able to throw down some kind of response, but not a lot of times do I get a response. But I just wanted to know that side note question. And feel free to linear honesty. Okay, that counts. That counts. Honesty. But look at how quick her response was, though. Like 3 weeks ago, we had like 6 women on the podcast for 4 hours, and all they could do was complain. She was like quick. Honestly, like the time it took for her to type that up, she was probably doing it like this. It was like she didn't even have to buffer the thought through her brain. It was more the internet processing it. I told y'all they got good women out here. They just hard to find. Talinia, I'm hoping that that's the way it goes. Also, y'all know, y'all make sure y'all, while y'all like and subscribe, y'all know that it's in the comment section. And if y'all ever want to jump in and do y'all some shout outs, y'all can actually click those links, approve the mic, approve the camera, and jump in here, and y'all can be seen. Smart babe, yes, she is. And give your shout, as long as you're over the age of 18, reasonably appropriate. I will be looking at y'all in the green room before y'all pop up on the screen, so you know I'm going to be buffering. But we're just about talking about Georgia Senate's actions are aligned with a series of executive orders and actions by the President Donald Trump that targets the transgender community. So this suggests that Trump's previous policies and stances on transgender issues may have created a political climate that encouraged such legislative efforts at the state level. And it is not just one state. So the Senate passed a bill in Georgia with 34-19 votes that would prohibit most gender affirming care for minors under the age of 18, including those currently receiving treatment. And a second bill passed with 37-15 votes, seeking a ban to most gender affirming care individuals in state prison. These bills follow earlier legislation in 2023 during the Biden administration that restricted gender affirming surgeries and hormone replacement for transgender youth, with exceptions for those already in treatment. Now, the current law still allows physicians to prescribe puberty blockers, but this may change if the new bills are enacted. So when I told you guys that the LGBTQ community was at risk when Donald Trump was running for president, because he said he was going to get y'all in this point AM. Yeah, definitely. It is 12 a.m., 12:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I know a lot of countries that are Green Minute Time and Universal Standard Time. This is like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. for you guys. But we start at 10:30 every night, and we're talking about something business, finance, politics, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, social reform, improvement, self-improvement, self-accountability, personal accountability, gender accountability. Like, you got to make it make sense to yourself. You got to make better decisions for yourself in order for you to have a better from Ukraine. She says she agrees with what's going on. And from Ukraine, look, I'm gonna tell you, some of the decisions that we making is not good. And special shout out to Ukraine. Actually, special shout out twice to Ukraine, because Ukraine is one of the leading followers of the podcast next to Russia. Because I don't put Ukraine up there because when Ukraine was in the middle of that war, YouTube was banning podcasts for even mentioning Ukraine. We would get strikes and everything else, even just for mentioning Ukraine. But since things have died down, now we can go ahead and throw y'all up there. Because when y'all were in the heat of battle, we wasn't able to do nothing. I was like, dang, I can't even talk about how that was messed up. But it is what it is, because our First Amendment right to free speech does not mean that they are going to allow us to air it. So we can say whatever we want to say, but they don't have to let anybody hear it. You got to pay attention there. But we are live 7 nights a week, and we talk about how to improve ourselves financially, how our country is changing, how the world is changing because our country is changing, how we can change ourselves, and how we are suffering there. Oh, I believe it. And the first person accountability that we can do to change the way we live and then change the way we allow people to live around us respectfully so that we can live in a better atmosphere. Because instead of blaming your country for the stuff that you're going through, you have to recognize that you chose this and you made that decision. And when you made that decision, that's the reason why the snowball stand that is your life is your life. Now, I know that a lot of people that are going through this transgender process is going to blame the government for their life being miserable, but that's not altogether true, because you chose the transitional process. So the first person accountability, had you just accepted like who you were, how you are, and lived a positive life, you would not have to forcibly change your physical appearance in order to be socially accepted at what you're trying to be. And there's a lot more scrutiny involved in this country with the change, as opposed to, you said, how we are chose that. Sorry. Well, okay, no, not you guys in Ukraine. You guys in Ukraine that are doing the war, you guys are have no choice in what you're experiencing. What I'm talking about is individuals in America that are complaining about their life in America when there's clearly people in other countries that got way worse things going on. And the first person accountability, where these people in America could actually proactively change their life for a positive. You can't change your life for a positive when you're living in a war zone. But if you're not living in a war zone, why are you complaining about your life when you could have made different changes with your life that would have been more effective? Does that make sense? So, when we're talking about ways to improve ourselves and improve our decision-making processes and improve our spending habits and our investment opportunities, and improve the way that we build ourselves up, set up a 20-year plan and other such, because we was talking about a lot of this stuff last night. It's not about, people that are in a destitute situation are in a destitute situation because they made a bad choice, because people can be born in poverty. It's not their choice to be poor. But if they don't start trying to make decisions to try to change that, then staying poor the rest of your life is definitely part of your decision-making process, because you got to try something. I know that there are limitations when you don't have resources, when you don't have access to resources, but to the best of your ability, you're supposed to always be looking for another way. And even if you can't find one, doesn't mean that you're supposed to stop looking. You're never supposed to give up hope and just say, oh, well, it is what it is. It is what you make it. And no matter if it's an inkling better than what it was yesterday, anything is better than nothing. If everybody that ain't got nothing sharing what they got, at least everybody got a little something instead of everybody fighting over what's left. Something as simple as that is a massive change in a society. So, even you guys that are like, what happened with your prime minister, with him wearing the same outfit every day? Is he doing that because he gave y'all all of his money the way they said on the news? Because if he gave all of his riches to y'all to make y'all have less stuff go on, then wouldn't that mean that he made a conscious choice to take care of his country so that his country would suffer just a little bit less? That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. When he could have kept all that money in his pocket and he just be the only person not suffering, he decides to make that type of sacrifice for his people. That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Like, you can make any kind of change that improves your society. And no matter how big or how small that change is, something as simple as being kinder to your neighbors can make a world of difference, especially in the midst of extreme chaos. It's extreme games which will lead to World War III. Oh, you think that's bullshit? You think that looking out for each other will improve your society as a whole, even through the war? Because you're not going to stop the war. You're not going to stop the attackers from the other side of the fence by treating each other better, but you'll at least not be fighting against each other while they're fighting against y'all. So, I mean, or are you telling me that it's bullshit that the man is wearing the same outfit every day because he gave all of his money to y'all? Because I don't know if he really gave all his money to y'all. I'm hearing that that's what happened, and that's why he's in the White House wearing a shirt and some sweats instead of walking in there with a suit on. Now, you can wear whatever you want in the White House because Kanye West was up in there looking like garbage, but that's Kanye West. You don't know the history. Well, okay, so do I need to know world history for every country in the world to say that you as an individual can make your personal life better by making better decisions, starting by the way you treat the people around you and the way you allow the people around you to treat you, starting from the bottom up, starting with your inner circle and working your way outward, starting with your neighborhood and working your way outward? You're telling me that I need to know Ukrainian history so that one Ukrainian can treat the other Ukrainian with dignity and respect? Are you telling me that I got to know Ukrainian history for that? You telling me that I have to know Ukrainian history in order to know that you can make different choices with whatever access to career, whatever access to education, whatever access to resources you have to improve, where you can go from living one lifestyle to another lifestyle by sticking with it and not giving up on it? Are you saying that I need to know Ukrainian history to know that you can get a passport to a different country and go live somewhere else if you sell all the stuff that didn't get blown up yet and get you a passport and a plane ticket and start over somewhere else, that you can start a new life in a new country that isn't banning Ukraine from entering the country with a passport and start a new life somewhere else? Am not talking about our history. Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I wasn't talking about your society at all as a whole. I was talking about individual behavior patterns and how the social, because a country only sucks because the people in the country sucks. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, the history of how it started. Oh, I'm not talking about the war at all. I don't know who threw the first rock, much less who launched the first missile or who launched the first bullet. All I know is that YouTube was being mean to the podcasters who mentioned your country, so we couldn't talk about your country and we could not dig into how it started or what happened or whatever the case may be, because we weren't allowed to even mention your country without being demonetized. Now that we're not being restricted from talking about your country, we could probably talk about your country, but I wasn't actually talking about your country per se. I was actually talking about all the crazy stuff that Donald Trump did in the White House this year, today, this past week, this past 10 days specifically. I got no beef with your country. You feel me? This is a podcast about education and enlightenment. This is a podcast about self-growth and first-person accountability. That's what this podcast is about. This isn't a red pill or a black pill podcast. We're not the kind of podcast that talk about other people and down. I'm in the United States, which is why I'm talking about the president of the United States and all the stuff that's happening in the United States this week. So we are going to talk about how Donald Trump has stopped military aid to Ukraine because he wants a ceasefire, and for some reason a ceasefire is not an option. I don't know why a ceasefire is not an option, because in history I have never seen a war stop because they ran out of ammunition. Usually but originally I was from the United States. So originally I was born in the United States. I was originally raised in the United States, and then I still live in the United States. So and then we have with what's going on with the ceasefire, because that's actually going to improve gas prices, because all of the fuel that it costs for us to fly troops to another country, it doesn't matter what country it is, it causes an increase in gas prices. So whenever America is not involved with overseas transportation of military forces and equipment, we have a significant reduction in fuel prices for the American people. And that's what we're talking about today. We were talking about how the decisions, common dude. Okay. Yeah. I'm a common dude. I'm the common, average, everyday American. That's right. That's what we're all about here. And when I said that we're talking about business and finance and politics, we're talking about how the political changes are impacting the economy and how the economy impacts the everyday common dude. Exactly. So how him calling back the troops, while that might negatively impact what's going on in Ukraine, him calling back the troops, that actually saves the cost of fuel for those of us that are paying $3 to $5 a gallon to get to work every day in America. Yeah, it's not fair for you in your country, but when we're talking about business and investments and stocks and bonds on this podcast, and we're talking about how economic shifts are the result of decisions that may or may not have catastrophic blood money effects in another country. In this country, it's going to affect us a certain way. The same way the tariffs on Canada, the tariffs on China, and the tariffs on Mexico is going to make everything in America cost more money. That's got nothing to do with the people in Ukraine eating bullets. It got nothing to do with that. It's just that we're gonna spend more money in more places. Our money's gonna go less of a distance because milk is gonna be $6-7 a gallon. iPhones is gonna be $3,000 a piece. Everybody gonna have to get them a new a used iPhone or rent their iPhone for $75 a month. That's what we talking about. Special shout out to FSLO, first time tonight on the show. Okay, so why was there a massive sell-off in equity markets? Because of the tariffs. That's why. The whole I talked about that about 50 minutes ago on the show. The whole economy shifted because Donald Trump just started. As of about 30 minutes ago, the tariffs are back in action, even though it was supposed to be a 30-day delay in this decision. Effective right now, the tariffs are in full effect with 25% on Canada and 25% on Mexico, so Canada and Mexico, and then 20% on China. And then he's going to match tariffs on other countries. So anybody else is putting a tariff on the United States for importing, the United States is going to put a matching tariff on them for exporting. So they're not going to be able to ship nothing to the U.S. without refunding the U.S. government the money that they charge the U.S. to send stuff to their country. So everybody in the stock market just took a dip. Everything took a dip. And I think the only thing safe to buy into right now with the shift in the market is going to be the Bitcoin and gold and silver and stuff. So the tariffs, in your opinion, are a good thing. And furthermore, the average American life will be more expensive. And that's a good thing. Note that is not what I said. That is not what I said. Actually, the tariffs is a bad thing. It's a good thing for the economy, but it's a bad thing for the people, especially 99% of the poor people, because those people are going to spend more money on more stuff. The tariffs is going to offset the budget and bring us down from $30 trillion, hopefully, to a profit distributing country. Hopefully, he should take a lot of this money and put it towards the sovereign wealth fund that will be investing in government, investing government money into government profits, where the government should hopefully pay for itself at some point, where the people will not have to voluntarily pay taxes under the falsehood that taxation is mandatory. And really, the only reason why people are filing for taxes is because they're hoping to get a refund back. They're voluntarily showing the U.S. government how much money they have so that the government can give them back the money that was taken out of their paychecks. But if the money wasn't taken out of their paychecks on a day-to-day basis, they really would not have the motivation to file taxes, because it's not against the law to not file taxes. It's only against the law to hide some of the resources that you have when you file taxes, or misrepresent the taxes that you have claimed on your tax return. But not saying nothing, there's no crime against that. And it is not against the law to not file. So you don't have to, if you are considered a 1099 employee or you're a non-W-2 worker, but people file because they're hoping to get those stimulus checks. But I don't think that that's that the tariffs in a way is a good thing for the people that make under $100,000 a year, because they're going to spend more money on everything from buying houses to buying cars, buying cell phones, bare necessities, the furniture or stuff like that. Everything that the average person pays for now, that's going to have the materials from these tariffs in it, they're going to have to pay a shit ton more, plus shipping and handling, because anything that you get shipped direct from the manufacturer and it's not made in America, where American manufacturers are going to increase the price of the product to offset the money they spent on getting the materials, you're gonna buy it from another country because it's cheaper, but the shipping and handling on the shit's gonna be so goddamn high because of the tariffs. So no, it's not a good thing. It's a bad thing for the average everyday person. But Donald Trump excited everybody by saying, hey, you're not going to get taxes on overtime. So you have more discretionary spending, which means you can spend more money on stuff, which means you can buy more shit. That's what. But if you take that money and invest it into stocks, bonds, and real estate, like I told y'all yesterday, and then use the dividends from that and start paying your bills with, you'll start having regular income coming in that you don't have to work for because your money's making more money for you. And then you wouldn't have to worry about the goddamn tariffs because you would have so much money somewhere else paying for stuff that you would not have to keep paying for stuff out of your pocket, because the principal only happens once. When you earn that principal, it's there till you spend it. And then once it's spent, it's gone. But if you invested in something that's going to give you a residual payment off of that principal, the principal's always there to use for another day and just keep adding to the principal. She said, all I want to say is we all come from different countries and we never was about to get another country. Never was about to get other countries. Each was always about money. Yeah, okay. Each war is always about Afghanistan, oil. What they got going on in Ukraine is about minerals. I mean, it's always a battle of resources. It is. We were in a different country doing stuff we had no business doing when we got 100 years of oil that we sitting on. But if we sell our 100 years of oil when don't nobody else got no oil, guess what? We can charge it way more than what we paid for it. It's a business move. It's a political move. Is it right? I'm not weighing in either way. I just know that the cost of doing business is what we have to pay attention to on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And if we start thinking with the business mindset, we can rationalize, while it ain't fair, some things actually make sense. Doesn't have to be right to make sense. It doesn't have to be moral or ethical to make sense. You just have to be able to understand why it's being done this way. Because you also have to understand, man, while you're coming from Ukraine, I come from a lineage of individuals that was considered property up until the 1950s, 1960s. So when the Constitution was made, it wasn't made for me and my people. We're included in it now, but we wasn't made. It wasn't made for us. So we have to learn how to adapt to the society that we live in, not complain about how it is structured. We can improve it, or we can allow it to stay the way it is, but it's our choice to do something different. Now, Eric, special shout out to Eric Ferreira. I hope I said that right. Ferreira. It is a misdemeanor to fail to file taxes. It's called tax evasion under federal laws. Okay. It's a misdemeanor to willfully fail to file taxes. According to the fact that most Americans that don't file taxes every year, they typically file once every 2 to 4 years, if they file at all. So you believe that it is a called tax evasion. So Lil Kim, who underclaimed her income, got tax evasion because she said that she had less than what she did. MC Hammer had back taxes owed because he didn't pay it, and they seized all of his stuff, not because he didn't file. We can name a bunch of people that was involved where they lied about how much they had. They claimed that they wasn't making no pile of nothing. Then you see them on cribs with a 52-bedroom house and 32 cars in the front yard, and then they get audited by the IRS. Okay. So think about it, Eric. Why are there so many Americans talking about it now, the voluntary taxation, if it is in fact a mandatory taxation? It is a misdemeanor to lie about the filing of your taxes. That is called tax evasion. But not to turn in a document, you are not required to turn in a document to the federal government on an annual basis. It is voluntary. And it was talked about in the Congress recently about its voluntary choices that Americans have. And the only reason why it is deemed by most of us that it is not voluntary. He says, special shout out to Chanano. You've got Vivex. Vivex, is that you, bro? Special shout out to Vivex, whoever Vivex is. But yeah, the thing is that the reason why they're talking about it in Congress is because it is voluntary. But the only reason why we believe that it is mandatory is because in order for you to receive a stimulus check from the U.S. government, you must have filed taxes. We believe that it is mandatory for us to file because the only way we can get money back from the government is if we file. If money is taken out of your, pay attention to this real quick. I'm gonna put this back up here so that Eric, I'm talking to you. They take money out of your check every week for a W-2 worker, right? It goes to the U.S. government, right? Now, if in the event you don't file, they're not going to give you your money back. Are they going to put you in jail because you didn't file? No. They're just not going to give you your money back. All the money they took out of your check all year, it's theirs to do whatever they want with. You file taxes to show them you are too poor for them to take that money out of your pocket so that they can give it back to you. You don't have to file taxes. Now, are you going to say that we mandatorily have to, quote unquote, pay taxes? We're paying taxes when we buy stuff, and we pay taxes when they take money out of our paycheck. So we're paying taxes twice, once on the income that we made, and then one more time when we spend the income that we made. So special shout out to Vanessa, first time tonight, Vanessa Tenorio, Vanessa Tenorio. I am terrible with these names, y'all. I am ruining everybody's name tonight. Look now. People on SSI and SSDI, because and there's a difference between the two, because Social Security income is different from the Social Security disability, which is the insure the Social Security from the work credits that you pay into when they're taking out that Social Security out of your check. That's for SSDI. SSI is for individuals that's never worked or individuals that have not put in enough work credits, where you're supposed to put in a certain quantity of work credits within the last 10 years in order to qualify to get those work credit. I mean, the SSDI. Talani wants me to read my message. Read my comment, please. What comment? I read your comment when you was talking about the war and each other. I read your comment a long time ago. I'm on Vanessa's comments right now. Because Vanessa's talking about how if you made like $20,000 a year, you don't have to file because IRS owes you money. You have to make over $50,000 a year to pay taxes. Now, Vanessa's telling you some other stuff that you need to pay attention to, Eric, because actually, Vanessa, it's $30,000. That will really technically it's like $13,500 qualifies you for taxable income, but $30,000 is the poverty threshold. And if you're making less than $30,000, more often than not, the U.S. government's going to give you your money back, guaranteed, because you qualify for government assistance. But $50,000 is the limit as to how poor you can be and still be making some decent money because of inflation. So you're probably still going to get all your money back if you're making less than $50,000 a year. But when you start making over $50,000 a year, you start making $75,000, $80,000 a year. If you don't have an LLC under your name where you're claiming deductions under your business, you're probably going to be paying taxes if you don't break even and don't owe them anything after they took all the money out of your paycheck, which technically still means you paid taxes. You just paid it throughout the year out of your bi-weekly, weekly, or monthly paycheck. So again, special shout out to Vanessa because she on the ball. I told y'all we got some smart ladies out here, smart cookies out here. Vanessa, real quick, what do you bring to the table that a man values besides sex, education, and your career choice? Talina said honesty. We had a couple of other women that said emotional support. Can you give us a different one? While Vanessa's going through that, last month, the Senate also passed measures to prevent transgender individuals from participating in school sports and eliminate funding for gender affirming care for adults. And with the state of Maine to prevent transgender individuals from participating in female sports. Now, I want to know what you guys think about this, because there's two sides of the fence here. Some people's going to say, oh, that's unfair because they deserve to be able to choose whatever they want to choose. But others are going to say that's not fair because look at it like this. Genetically, after the operation, you're still a dude. And that's what people aren't paying attention to. What you claim to be, how you present yourself to the general population, a man is still a man. And you cannot say in the realm of athletic sports that just because you got a surgery to cut it off, that you're not carrying more physical capabilities, more natural capabilities as a man than what a woman would be able to carry, which makes it unfair for naturally born women to compete against men that look like women. So we're just talking about keeping the sport fair. Now, would it be fair to say that we should probably create some transgender sports too, the same way we got the handicap Olympics? I mean, sure, why not? But you're going to put everybody that qualifies under the same criteria in the same category to compete for one another in athletics activities. Not so much saying that transgender people are not people. They're people too. But you can't take a former man that now looks like a woman and put them in a bout with a woman where he is more athletically, or former he, the person formerly known as he, is more athletically capable of performing these tasks than the females that he's going up against. It makes no sense why people are pissed off about that. Instead of being pissed off about stopping them from crossing over in athletic competition, why don't you guys just create a separate sport for everybody? Because we went from men only sports to women having their own league. So let's make a transgender league. Then everybody's got what they want. I don't know. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. Republicans like Senator Ben Watson argue that these decisions are too impactful for minors to make the changes in their bodies before and during puberty. And Democrats and critics contend that these bills violate the rights of transgender individuals and their families to make informed healthcare decisions. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. The Constitution covers everybody's right to do almost anything that they want to do. CBD or C-Dub. Sorry, I was thinking about weed just now. C-Dub. Special shout out to C-Dub. 14,600. What's that for? The number of people that's watching us right now? We need to go viral. Make sure that y'all like and subscribe and share this to somebody that y'all know. We've got about an hour and a half left before I got some contracts that I got to start dealing with in Asia. While America is adding tariffs, I'm signing deals. He's taxing them 20%. I'm still getting paid. Minimum income not pay federal taxes, 14,600. So that's the increase for the 2025 fiscal year, the tax year. So last year it was like 13,750. So this year is 14,600. So anything beyond that, you're liable, unless you've got some deductions that you can claim. You're liable to pay taxes. But ultimately, that means that even if you made $100,000, if you spent like 96,000 of it, and you've got less than 14,600 left over, odds are you ain't paying taxes. So you're claiming a bunch of stuff. Get your LLC, get your C corporation. I did 2 shows. I did a show about C corporations, LLCs. I did a show about trusts. Because if you donate money to, do you have to know? Social Security disability is not a earned income. That would be considered a reimbursement. That is not an earned income. So SSI and SSDI is not earned income. You can claim it if you want to and risk them taxing you on it, but you're not required by federal regulations to claim any money from your VA benefits or your Social Security disability or your SSDI disability. Now that has nothing to do with 401k or Roth IRA. Those are taxable situations. You're welcome, TK, God. Thank you, God. Oh, okay. I like that. Special shout out to God. Special shout out to Richard, first time tonight. He's sending special shout out to the rainbows. And I see flags and people laying sideways. And is that supposed to be a meme? I don't understand it, but I appreciate it, Richard. I appreciate it. I love the way individuals like to be derogatory on a pod. But see, if at the end of the day, I've pissed off somebody, haters gotta hate. But if I gotta piss off somebody in order to make it make sense, then at the end of the day, I'm doing something right. Because if I ain't pissing off somebody, I ain't doing something right. Rich, you're mad at me because I ain't even in Georgia. You mad at me because Georgia passed some laws. Let me tell you some crazy laws. Louisiana passed a law that says the sex offenders get castrated after they've served their time. I thought that was ridiculous. So you're telling me that if you thought that she was over the age of 18 because that's what it had on her fake ID and she turns out to be under the age of 18, that I could lose my genitalia. I told y'all that men are in danger in this country, and y'all want to say no, it's a man's country. It is not a man's country. Y'all don't understand the magnitude of this situation. Men got to be careful. You've got to do background checks and shit to make sure that she is really a she and make sure that she is really grown, because if she is not what she says she is, then she could get you in a world of trouble. So Rick, you could take that to the bank. Now you want to tell me what that looks like is fuck me and something about kissing flag is rainbow colored. Oh, okay. I guess you're calling me one of the. Okay, yeah. No, I'm not part of that group of individuals, but at least 26 states have enacted similar laws limiting gender affirming care for minors. And this is one of the things that you guys got to understand, is that I am not a podcast that hates on folks, that downs folks, that belittles folks. I report what I find out. I actually do extra effort into getting detailed information for y'all, and I share it with y'all. So this is public knowledge. This isn't me deciding to say, oh, I'm going to pick on a certain group of individuals. I'm going to pick on a certain group of countries. I'm going to pick on a certain classification. No, that's not what I do. That's not what I do. I find this stuff out, I learn about it, and then I share the information with the rest of y'all, and I let y'all know what's going on in the world, because apparently most people don't know. And many of the minors that are not allowed to have these gender affirming medical practices are facing legal challenges, and the bill will now move to the House for further consideration. And this legislative push aligns with similar initiatives by Republican lawmakers in various states and hold on now, I got you, and echoes executive actions by President Donald Trump targeting the transgender individuals. Now, I warned y'all back in September that this recklessness was going to go down, and y'all ain't want to listen to what I had to say. Y'all was sitting over here trying to make it seem like this and that ain't talking about this, that, and everything in between. Y'all want to come and tell us, okay, you tell me that you want to send money, but they ask me if I'm 18. I don't know what to tell you about that, because Max the Poser is under the age of 18, and his dad gave him $40 for the podcast, for him to send me $40 on the podcast one time. And Max the Poser was just in here earlier today. So if you want to send something, you can send something, because there is no age, race, or discrimination of any kind from any country on this podcast. So whoever you are, whatever your age group is, you can send me whatever you want to send me from any area, because I'm not going to. Well, as I said, his dad approved it and sent it to me. So, I mean, his dad was on the podcast. As a matter of fact, Joe, they had got an Airbnb. They was out on vacation, and his dad was on the live podcast. And then his dad was like, dang, I should put all my kids in here so that they can learn something from this podcast, because we don't hate on folks. We just tell y'all how to make money for you, and what kind of changes is happening in this country that you can benefit from while the country is unstable. What the stuff that we could do around the world right now that we could benefit from while the world is unstable. But we got about probably 90 to 120 more days worth of instability if he keep making these changes. And if we take advantage of the instability, we'll be able to make it work. Thank you, God says, because minors cannot send money without a parent's request. And if it comes from another country, it can have different rules. That is true. Now, I know a lot of people in America build profiles and claim to be over the age of 18 when they're not, or if it asks them, are you over the age of 18? And they say yes, even if they're not. And then they do whatever they want to do on the internet, because the internet is non-restrictive, because it is an automated system. And all you got to do is bypass the automated system by agreeing to whatever it wants you to agree to in order for you to do whatever you want. That's the reason why that one kid was able to spend $5,000 on Fortnite using his mama's credit card without his mama knowing about it. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to let you know that I'm not going to turn you away. So social media is full of those. But look, this is the reason why I tell y'all that I give y'all the opportunity to jump onto the show and say what y'all want to say on the show. But we got to keep everything a little bit appropriate, because I know that there are some on here that are not over the age of 18. And while the show primarily targets the benefits of being an adult, you can learn this before the age of 18. And I'm not going to have anybody seen live on the podcast that I recognize is not over the age of 18, because I've got limitations. I can't broadcast kids on the podcast. YouTube won't allow it. So, but beyond that, your comments and your statements are welcome. And so is your contributions to the podcast. They're also welcome. Whatever you got to do to get it in there, you get it in there. If I see it and it shows up, I'll put it up on the screen and give you a special shout out. If you're not able to do it, then you're not able to do it. Regardless, you got to follow. I try to follow the rules to the best of my abilities. Whatever you got to do to get it done, you do that. If following the rules means you can't do it, then you can't do it. If violating the rules means that you can do it, and that's what you choose to do, first person accountability. Always do what you know is right. Stand up for what you believe in by any means necessary. Accept the consequences of your actions before you perform the actions. And is there another one? Because those are the three major ones. And there's a fourth one, and I can't think of the fourth one. I think you said I'm 43. You don't look 43. See? And look, and thank you, God. Look, doesn't look 43 neither. Thank you, God. Looks like 32. And you look like you're about 22 at best. So between the two of y'all, there are two more women on the podcast. So again, I tell y'all, look, all we talking about today is ways for us to make some shifts and some changes. So just like we talked earlier about how the economy had took a dip because of what just happened an hour ago. And I'm probably more to the moment about the catastrophic change than anybody else, because everybody else that broadcast the situation broadcast the announcement of the situation. I was live when the shit hit the fan, and I'm telling everybody about it. She said, thank you, I'm 63, and yes, my pick is current. Sheesh. Where's you? Not a gray hair in sight. I'm looking at, see, I told y'all we can't just card these females, bruh. If she looked like she's 60, she's 63, and she looked like she's 30 years younger than that at least, bro. So real talk, 30 years ago, she looked like she was 13, bro. You gotta check these IDs, bro. Make sure they real. You gotta check these IDs, bro. You gotta do some background checks on these females, bro. You gotta make sure that she got some linear history somewhere, bro. And real talk, social media is not your friend, and the internet is not your friend. Folks is posting stuff at random on a daily basis, just upload. But I guarantee you, I'm gonna tell y'all today, because I told you this last week and the week before this, if you take certain people's government name and stick it into the Google word search, all their personal information start popping up. Where they live, what their phone number is, what political party do they represent, what kind of job do they have, how many people is in their family, who all live in their house, everybody that's registered to the same address. You come to find out a lot of public, and this is the free public knowledge. This isn't the pay for a private investigator. This isn't the free subscription on a search engine website that collects all of this data off the internet and then sell it to the highest bidder. This is just you Google word searching one person's full name, partial name, however they choose to use their name. God forbid they got a social media channel. It shows you all their social media channels. If they ever post a photo of themselves online, it shows you what their photos look like. If they ever been in trouble with the law, it shows you their criminal record. You find out all this stuff. If they ever did a wish list for a marriage, if they ever did a wish list for a baby, you see that. And if they did a wish list for a baby, they might be pregnant. If they did a wish list for a marriage, they might be engaged. You can find out everything about somebody just by Googling their name online. Now, for those of us who don't post our personal stuff online on a regular basis, for those of us who try our best to keep out of social media, you put their government name in there and don't nothing pop up. So for those of you that are listening to the public service announcement that I just gave you, you can go and test and see exactly how much information about you is accessible at the click of a button by putting your government name in the Google word search. Just your name, nothing else about you. Or you could put who is and then put your name in there and see what it does. Stick it into Gemini, stick it into ChatGPT, stick it into Perplexity, see what it says about you. Sometimes it might not be good, but sometimes nothing come up. If nothing comes up, you're in the clear. But if too much information come up, you might want to start scrubbing yourself off the internet, my friend. Once it's posted, you can't take it down. You can. You can take it down. You can take it down. You can't take it down for free though. You can't you can't take it down for free though. Once it's posted, it's up there. Somebody got it. Somebody got a copy of it. You could take down your copy. You can pay the platform a bunch of money to take down everybody else's copy on that platform, but it ain't going to take it out of every platform. But if you got enough money, millionaires, billionaires, political figures, Fortune 500 company owners, you could scrub the internet of anything you don't want society to look at, like the Mandela effect of the fruit of the loom that has that giant cone on the back of the fruit. That used to be a thing back in the 90s. People talking about something. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was. They just erased it from history. That's what happened. They deleted it off the internet because everything used to be on paper back in the day. But if you own a Fruit of Balloon shirt from 1990, it still got the little cornucopia thing on there because that's what they used to have on the clothes. Most folks don't have clothes from 1990. They done threw all that stuff away, so they wouldn't know what I'm talking about. Moving on, James Denny, the head of the FBI in New York field office, has been forced to retire from the bureau. Look, this is the upper class way of saying his ass got fired, which is a damn shame. Denny announced his retirement today, and he told his colleagues first thing this morning that he stated that he was directed to submit his retirement papers late Friday without being given a reason. So somebody just walked into his office and said, "Put your letter of resignation on my desk on Monday." That's it. Like, you ain't got no damn job after the day, my boy. So he did. and it's still being fired. The only difference is that from a billionaire perspective, I'll pay you to leave because I don't want you here no more. And a lot of these people, they're getting retirement where they're paid leave for the rest of their life. You got a lot of the government agents that are on paid leave until September, which gives them the rest of the year to find another job. And finding another job may not stop their severance pay for the rest of the year, because you can get paid leave for the rest of the year and have a whole nother job, because that's not unemployment compensation. Unemployment compensation is limited until your next job. Paid leave means that you are paid to not come in. You are paid to stay home because we don't want you here. It's just like being fired. And the funny thing is that people who love their job is hurt because they're getting paid to stay at home. The bottom 99% of Americans that hate their job wish their job would pay them to stay at home. We can't even afford paid vacations on some of our jobs. We got jobs where that paid vacation check is a bonus check so that we could catch up on some back bills, because we don't make enough money to pay for our damn bills with the check that we get on a regular basis. That's why we working 60 hours a week, 20 hours of overtime. That's why the bottom 99% of Americans was cheering when Donald Trump said he wasn't going to charge taxes on the overtime hours. But the overtime is a time and a half. He ain't said that he wasn't going to charge you interest on charge you taxes on the extra time. So you're going to pay 40, and then you're going to get an extra 20 of regular time. You're just not going to get taxed on that half hour worth of time on top of that. But you're going to see the difference on your paychecks coming soon. And I'm pretty sure they're going to rearrange this situation to a setup where they're going to do the two-tier system that he talked about during his campaign, where everybody under 168,000 is only going to pay 15%, and everybody over that is going to be paying 30%. Where C corporations and LLCs might get capped at like 20%. Primarily C corporations. Can't really bank on LLCs getting it, but LLCs get up to 35% deductions. They get up to 35% taxation, but they get up to 35% deductions. Where W-2 workers are no longer going to be getting deductions from certain state tax exemptions and stuff to that effect. So that's going to be a massive change for everybody. But this development comes amid significant changes in the FBI's leadership, where Christopher Wray, the former FBI director, resigned in January of this year, nearly 3 years before the end of his term. Kash Patel, nominated by President-elect Donald Trump, took office as the new FBI director last month, and Dan Bongino, a conservative podcast host and Trump loyalist, has been named deputy director. So a podcaster just became deputy director of the FBI. I don't make these things up. I just report them. Dene's forced retirement appears to be part of a broader shakeup with the FBI. He had been in charge of the New York field office since September of 2024 and appointed by the, at that time, director Christopher Wray. And his departure follows reports that he resisted Justice Department efforts to scrutinize agents involved in politically sensitive investigations, particularly related to the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot. So while some of the people involved in the Capitol riot got pardoned by the president, some people that were involved in the Capitol riot are now getting fired, probably because they were on the opposite side of that riot. Now, the FBI is currently experiencing turmoil due to a Justice Department directive to provide a list of agents who participated in investigations related to the Capitol riot. And this order has been viewed by some as a potential precursor to mass firing. Now, I don't know why they're calling this a precursor to mass firing if you already see that a few million people then already got retired. I think this is the biggest mass firing season I have. It ain't even a spree, it's a season He's a serial firer. If you remember Donald Trump from Shark Tank, didn't every episode he fire somebody? I think the only person that fires this many people or close to this many people is Vince McMahon, which, by the way, Linda McMahon is failing miserably with the Department of Education that is currently being disbarred. So he's going to let her fail. I don't know what to say about that, but the Department of Education is not functioning right now because they are locked out of office. So the changes in the FBI's leadership reflect the ongoing political tensions surrounding the Bureau and its investigations, particularly as the new administration from Trump is taking control. Now, on February 19th, which was last week, President Donald Trump signed multiple executive orders, one of which was an executive order titled Ending Taxpayer Subsidization of Open Borders. Now, most of you Americans are going to love this one because this order aims to ensure that taxpayer resources are not used to support or incentivize illegal immigration. Directing federal departments and agencies to identify all federally funded programs providing financial benefits to illegal aliens and take corrective actions. This is going to piss off a lot of people that are not American citizens by legal right. So if you weren't born here, raised here, if you don't have some form of citizenship visa or some type of travel visa or something to that effect, you are about to lose whatever food stamps, housing assistance, or whatever else that they got going on for you guys as it stands. Because when he says do something, typically stuff gets done, whether we like it or not, whether we agree with it or not, stuff gets done. Doesn't necessarily have to be in our favor, but stuff gets done. Now, ensuring that the federal funds to the states and localities are not used to support sanctuary policies are assist illegal immigrations. They're mandating improvements to the eligibility verification systems to prevent benefits from going to individuals unlawfully present in the United States, requiring the Office of Management and Budget, OMB, and the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, to identify sources of federal funding for illegal aliens and recommend additional actions to limit such spending. Talina, I'm going to get your name right one day. She said, why you delete my message? What message? What message? I have not deleted anything. If there is a message that was posted that was not authorized by YouTube, then YouTube would have taken your message down. If the guy can put the dildo emoji up there and not get blocked, then that means that whatever you put up there was probably a lot worse. And you also have to understand that other people in the live feed who are reading the comments can see what is being said, and those individuals can complain about it to YouTube, which gets your comment removed. I do not waste time removing individuals' comments. If I take any action against what anybody says in the comment section, you will be officially banned off of the live stream altogether, where you won't be able to see the show. You might not be able to come back to the show. You might not get any notifications about the show because you won't be allowed access to the show. That's when I did something. Can you see me? Can you see? I can see you. I can see the message that you sent me a minute ago. I can see the message that you sent to me when you said that you were 43. And if you said anything between this message when you said you were 43 and now, I didn't see that, but I didn't do anything about it. I didn't stop it. I don't have any moderators on my platform that does this kind of stuff for me. I'm primarily, as far as this podcast is concerned, I'm a solo operation. So, I mean, I do have some other individuals working for me in the background, but as far as this live podcast, I'm doing it by myself. Something's wrong. I don't know. if there was something that was either vulgar, too vulgar, or something that was politically incorrect, or not incorrect, but politically inappropriate by YouTube standards, related to Ukraine topics, it might that would be, you see your message, but I don't see your message. Well, if I don't see your message, then that's not me. No, I don't have anything to do with that. If you see the message that you typed but nobody else, well, political stuff, if you've got it, I would recommend that you just type it again, stick it up there, because I didn't stop you from putting it up there. If you see it in the feed, it should be there. If you see it in the feed, it should be there. Anybody else that sees your comments, if they're not doing anything about your comments, they should see it up there too. If they see it, I see it. But no, I didn't do anything to any of your comments. I am not the kind of person that cares if other people disagree with me. I don't care if other people have negative things to say to me, as long as it's not hate speech like Richard. But Richard was trolling. So Richard's probably not going to, once he gets his laughs off of putting those emojis on a screen and walks off, Richard's not going to come back and do anything else. So, you know, a lot of times people just need negative attention. So I don't acknowledge negative attention with a negative response. If it just gets too appropriate, I just ban them. But outside of that, no, you can say whatever you want to say on this podcast. Whether I agree with you or whether you disagree with me, doesn't matter. I will put your comments up. As long as I can keep track of you guys' comments, I can throw them up on the screen. When they start getting too many comments and I have the capabilities to put up on the screen, we're probably going to have to adjust the system. But the way things are right now, there are I can keep up with the speed of the posting of the comments, which means I can put those comments up there and then respond to them as they go up. But if for some reason your side of YouTube isn't allow you to put that comment on my side of YouTube, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's a YouTube restriction, because I don't have any word search keywords or anything like that that's flagging content. Not directly. I don't have anything like that. There's a huge amount of black cash. Oh, oh, okay. I could see why somebody did something about that. I didn't do that. There's a huge amount of black cash. It's called dark money. And yeah, there's a huge amount of dark money going around with the political influence, and it's all over the world. It's all over the world. And what dark money is, she called it black cash, but it's not black cash like black people cash. It's dark money. And what it is, it's money lobbied from millionaires and billionaires to control the decision-making process of political powers. And ironically, while Donald Trump is making all of these moves where he's denying funding to certain countries until they do what he says, those billions of dollars is another form of dark money. It's just that nobody's talking about it. And she said, and in order to cash it, oh yeah, let her finish. And in order to cash it, they're going to do something else. They got what? You got to get on the dark web and do some crypto transactions. While she's finishing up her statement, Elon Musk's instructing agencies to report improper receipt or use of federal benefits to the Department of Justice and Department of Homeland Security. The order emphasizes preserving federal benefits for American citizens, particularly those in need, including individuals with disabilities and veterans. So while the order aims to uphold existing laws like the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act of 1996, which is almost like pre-work, it's PRWORA, critics argue that it may lead to additional eligibility requirements or restrictions on certain types of public assistance, potentially impacting individuals who are eligible for such assistance, probably because they have not gotten all of the full citizenship approvals that they were supposed to have, because Biden gave illegal immigrants the opportunity to file for citizenship. And even if you filed for citizenship, if you have not yet been approved, if you have not received the appropriate status approvals, you may still be considered an illegal immigrant. While they may not put in the effort to deport you, the executive orders that came out today may stop you from getting government assistance until you receive government authorization with your new citizenship status. So that's going to be something that's going to change a lot of immigrants. So you're talking about they've got to invest. What do they have to invest in to get this black cash? I'm going to be honest with you. All jokes aside, I was sitting over here wondering, why can't we make black money? I know we got green money out there. Other countries got like rainbow colored money. Why can't we make us some black money? Why can't we make us some Black Wall Street money like we had before they burned it down? Oh, in order to be placed and washed. Oh yeah, but that's like embezzling money though. If you're gonna create money and then you're gonna invest it in washing it, you're gonna throw it in a washing machine, put it on super dry, and then carry it out in big duffel bags in the back of a you don't dig. Well, what you're talking to me about is borderline money laundering. And I'm going to tell you, I am not going to, on this live podcast, co-sign on any type of money laundering. But what I am going to tell you is that, yeah, the political powers do move money around. They do move money around. There are individuals that are not in politics that move large quantities of money around by wire transferring capital from one place to another. They also move their money around by buying and selling real estate. You could take a bunch of unlawful cash, buy land, because the seller does not have to know where the money came from, and then you can sell the land to somebody else for the exact same value without the intent of receiving a profit from it. And then the cash that you get from selling that land gives you clean money that you can then put into a bank account, and now you've got cash that you can spend. That's called washing the money. That's doable. A lot of those cartel people used to do stuff like that, and you can see that on some of the National Geographic and World News, which is why when individuals are accused of committing crimes, you see more often than not that all of their property and assets get seized, in addition to their banks being frozen, because they got to prove that the property that you have wasn't bought with illegal money, because they'll take all of it from you, make you start over from scratch. Yeah, there's a lot of ways. Well, I appreciate you. You know, we're tiptoeing towards the end of the podcast. We got quite a ways to go, I think, because I know I can be here for at least another hour and a half before other things that I got to do. Make sure that you like and subscribe, because I'll be here tomorrow. And we're going to be talking about the tax discussion. So some people who are over here putting in their nine tails about the taxation, we're going to be talking about tax stuff tomorrow. And we're going to be talking about England on Wednesday. So we got a lot of money discussions to discuss this year. So make sure that you like and subscribe and keep checking out, because we're going to be 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, which should be about 4:30 Greenwich time. It's like 4:30 a.m. Universal Standard Time. So for you guys in the East Coast, it's 4:30 a.m. That's about what time we start. For those of us that's in the U.S. and in the daylight savings time atmosphere, it's going to be Central Standard Time. 10:30 Central Standard Time. It's like 11:30 Central Standard Time. So and sometimes we have to start a couple minutes late because we got to deal with getting all of the internet going, because they have the internet fail right before we decide to do something important, get all the cameras. So, but just like a satellite was here 5 minutes before the show started, he was here giving his shout outs. I seen him and I was like, snap, I got to hit this play button so that we can go live. We start every night. We do not let the sun rise without airing on this show. So Talinia, I appreciate you coming. I think I did it better. I'm gonna see you tomorrow night. You be safe. Special shout out to Talinia. Special shout out to Ukraine and Russia for tonight for popping in. We're gonna keep going because we've got about 20 more pages left of information that I want to talk to you guys about before I wrap things up. So the other executive orders that were signed was ensuring lawful governance and implementing the President's Department of Governance and Efficiency Deregulatory Initiatives that was signed February 19th, which was last week. This directs agencies to identify and rescind regulations inconsistent with Trump's administration policies. They're requiring agencies to concentrate their efforts, their enforcement authorities. Hold on. You can't troll me, buddy. I'm going to let you double tap by accident. He said, nah, you could have did better with all of them lines in there because it's going to go up on the screen. And you need to be a little bit more concise about your situation. If you trying to do a public service announcement up here twice, you got the wrong podcast because you could have wrote that one time and just waited your turn and I would have put it up on the screen because I ain't got no chill. I ain't got no chill. I would have put that up there the first time. You'd have double tapped it like you trying to troll the podcast. Look, he said Trumpo is selling the U.S. to Putin. Now, I don't know how true that is because China owns most of our debt. But we got more money than most countries. So I don't know how true that is. But I respect. Special shout out to the force is in, what is that? FEMAIA. I'm not sure. The force is in him. Oh, the force is female. Oh, Lord, bless it. Help me, please. Help me, please. So, ma'am, I'm sorry, because the force is female. That's a ma'am. I don't know if Trump is selling to Putin, what Trump is selling to Putin. But he can't be selling the U.S. to Putin like talking about it. He might be selling something else to Putin, but whatever he's selling to Putin. Look, ain't he trying to build a $300-something billion dome over the U.S.? Why would he sell the country to Putin when he about to make a $3 billion deal to build the Iron Dome of America over the United States of America, bordering the Gulf of America, where he's about to take over Canada and call that the Canadian of America? Where English has been made the official language of America and the United States flag has been made the official flag of America, which also means, ladies and gentlemen, y'all got to be careful about setting that flag on fire, because back in the day, it wasn't officially the flag. It was the adopted flag, and you burning it was your First Amendment right. These days, that might be considered treason, and they catch you on video setting the flag on fire in 2025 on YouTube. They might see you in a federal jail thereafter. The same way them boys out there posing with them guns and not being over the age of 18 ended up in jail because they was online playing around with stuff that they wasn't legally allowed to play around with. Y'all got to remember that social media is evidence, and that evidence is admissible in court. So y'all better behave. I'm waving my finger at y'all. Y'all better behave. Now, Trump aims to downsize and reshape the administrative state. And the executive order to reduce the federal bureaucracy from February 20th, 2025 aims to decrease the size of the federal government and eliminate or reduce unnecessary governmental entities and federal advisory committees, requiring the submission of a list of additional unnecessary entities for termination within 30 days. And the executive order on workforce optimization, February 12, 2025, is even more strict. Minimizes agency hiring allowances, requiring 4 workers to depart for every 1 hire made. That means every time we hire somebody new, 4 people get fired. We have 10 people in orientation. That means 40 people just retired. That's how that works. It calls for a plan to reduce the federal workforce through hiring limitations. There's an executive order launched called a 10-to-1 deregulation initiative. That we talked about that one. That was put into effect January 31st, 2025. It requires agencies to identify at least 10 existing rules, regulations, or guidance documents to be repealed for each new one issued. So every time we put in a new regulation, rule, or document, we repeal 10 of the old ones. This aims to ensure the total increment cost of all new regulations for the fiscal year 2025 is significantly less than zero. I don't know how they're going to do that, but they're going to try to make it seem like any new policy or procedure that puts in place that costs money, they're going to take away 10 policies or procedures that cost money. So the amount of money that they are adding to the budget should be rated as zero in comparison to the amount of money that they're saving from the budget. The controversial decision has sparked outrage from many, with critics arguing that it's a clear abuse of power. On the other hand, Trump's loyal supporters are hailing it as a master stroke, claiming it's a bold move that will finally get things done in Washington. Whether your stance, one thing is clear, this is a move that will have far-reaching consequences for American governance. Now, the backlash has been fierce, with many experts warning that these decisions could have disastrous consequences for the country. Some have even gone so far as to call it a constitutional crisis, claiming that Trump is overstepping his authority and undermining the very foundation of American democracy. Those people may not even know what the heck American democracy looks like, because we have been afraid of a police state for so long, a police country for so long, that we don't even know what being free look like, because you're free to do whatever you want to do as long as you're not causing harm to somebody else or somebody else's stuff. And the fact is that we're not allowed to do anything because we're told by the person next to us who doesn't want to see us doing it that we're not allowed to do it. And then they call the police on us. Some Karen comes and calls the police on us and try to get the police to force us not to do it, because the police have the authority to bully people, not because they're here to protect and serve, but because they were called to come and do a job, which is utilizing the government in an unlawful fashion to force somebody not to exercise their constitutional rights. So I don't know why we're going to be sitting in a country where people are saying, oh, the changes that he's making in the country is throwing off democracy. How many of y'all in traffic court right now talking about some democracy suck? I don't want to hear that shit. Now, others, however, see it as a necessary evil, arguing that drastic times call for drastic measures and that Trump is simply willing to do what it takes to get the job done. As the dust settles, it's clear that this is a complex issue with no easy answer. While Trump's supporters see this as a bold move to drain the swamp, his detractors see it as a reckless power grab. One thing is certain, however, this is a move that will have significant implications for the balance of power in Washington. The reactions from Congress has been one of shock and outrage, with many lawmakers from both parties speaking out against Trump's decisions. Even some of Trump's own allies have been caught off guard, with some admitting that they were blindsided by the move. The Democrats, meanwhile, are already talking about impeaching, claiming that this is the final straw in a long list of abuses of power. Yeah, they impeached his ass before and he finished the term. He back in the White House. What you gonna do? Impeach him again? He can run for a third term now. From what I understand, president's got 3 terms now. So as the news continues to unfold, one thing is clear: this and that and everything in between is going to be able to cover it. And this is a defining moment in Trump's presidency. So love him or hate him, there is no denying that Trump has a way of pushing the boundaries and challenging the status quo. So whether you see this as a bold move or a reckless abuse of power, one thing is certain: this is a development that will have far-reaching consequences for the American governance. So the questions on everyone's lips, of course, what is happening next? We're going to cover it. We're going to let you know. Will Trump's move pay off, or will it backfire spectacularly? We will be able to feel the outcome of the dynamics shifting in the next 45 days, because he added tariffs, stopped tariffs, added tariffs again. Once it starts becoming mainstream, that's when we're going to start seeing. And I've told you guys before, we're looking at a 7-day delay where stuff that's being imported in is being held at customs for 7 days. A lot of the times we're probably going to see a delay in distribution due to the tariffs and the external revenue fund. But one thing is certain, however, this is a story that we will continue to unfold. And in the coming days and weeks, I'll be here to guide you through every step of the way. So the implications of Trump's latest move are huge, and it's clear that this is a development that will have a lasting impact on American politics. Whether you agree with him or not, one thing is certain: Trump is a force to be reckoned with. And this last move is proof that he's not going anywhere anytime soon. The most dramatic moment, of course, has been the reaction from the Democrats, who are already calling for the impeachment process to begin. It is clear that this is a move that has sparked real anger and outrage. And it is clear that Trump's opponents will stop at nothing to hold him accountable. As the news continues to unfold, it's clear that this is a story that will have many twists and turns. One thing is certain, however: this is something very, very significant, and the implications for our future is going to be completely up in the clouds. The biggest question, of course, is what does this mean for Trump's presidency going forward? Will he emerge from this crisis stronger, or will it make a beginning stance of the end of his time in office? I doubt it completely. One thing is certain, however: this is a development that will definitely make the next president in office have a hard way to go, because Trump's moves have really angered everybody. It has really put everybody in a tough position. And this development is going to last for generations. I'm not going to lie. It's not going to be like in one ear, out the other. So I want to know what you guys think about it. If you've got an opinion on Trump's latest moves, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Just like the Forces female said that Trump is going to sell us to the U.S., even though China owns all of our debt. You know, if you've got some comments, let me know. And don't forget to check out the other videos that we have coming up for the rest of the week with in-depth analysis and commentary on political developments, financial shifts and changes, and all of the other things that can make us make financial success in our near future. Remember, we're live 10:30 Central Standard Time, 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, 7:30 California time, which is 4:30 Greenwich time, 4:30 a.m. Universal Standard Time. So 4:30 a.m. Greenwich time, 4:30 a.m. Universal Standard Time. And don't forget, we're live 7 nights a week. Unfortunately, that's all I have for you guys for tonight, but I want y'all to hang out because we have the outro song from alanito.music, Higher Ground, which was created by a Switzerland band that was made exclusively for the podcast. I know you guys will love it. Most people do who have heard it. You got to give a listen to it at least once. We got one for the intro, one for the outro. He made a whole album. The links to the songs are in a description down below. And if you want, where you can listen to it for free on YouTube. And if you also want to purchase it for download from Amazon Prime, there's a link for that as well. Ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to ask y'all to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. And fellas, we're at about 70% on the channel right now. We're holding strong. I really appreciate your support. Special shout out to Liberty Twitcher, Red Void, Danny Steffen, Reese Martinez, Max Opposer, Lucas Opposer, and Joe his father, to say the least. Special shout out to the people that are watching us from Twitch and the people that are watching us from Twitter X. And thank you for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow night.
Higher ground. Used to chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. Standing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not landing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.